So the title of what we've got is Taking Big Data to Market, and really I'd like to add, and it's also the journey that we're on as a business. I'm going to break one of Nigel's rules, is that we've come in a pair. So you've got my biog in the brochure. I've come with Kate Fitzgerald. Kate heads up our media propositions at dunnhumby, and is instrumental in many of the things that we're bringing to market today. And sitting there today, listening to some of the speakers before, it sort of filled me with dread, because the last presentation I got, Jesus, we're not going to be that smart, and we definitely don't have any videos. And it's sort of, for those of you who knew him, I used to work with a guy called Mark Sands, and if you ever presented with a guy called Mark Sands, who's now director at the Tate, his whole policy in the presentation was basically to get other people to make him videos. So you'd write a script and he'd be up there and he'd present and he'd just have a video after video, and it sort of felt like that this morning. I was thinking, shit, I don't have a single video. Well, there we go. But listening to Sean, he talked about change and innovate and grow, and I think that's what we've done, and I think that's why we're here. We've connected up with DailyDOOH. We've gone into partnership with them on their digital screens across our network. And, they've been really, really successful, and we've just had a year at that. And I guess that's where Nigel came across us and asked us to come and talk about the stuff today. And then I guess answering the other question that he put up is he put up Google and lots of other things on the board there. And I sort of thought, what are we talking about? Everybody seems to be sort of focusing on what this industry can do. And I think you have to understand what you can do in relationship to the rest of the media world. And I think you really have to understand what you can do in an integrated media planning world. So, you have a role to perform, and you need to understand that role, and that would have been my answer to that question at the start. Okay, so what's our rite of process? Why are we here? So we're dunnhumby. We're customer scientists. We're agents of change. What does customer scientist mean? Well, we do everything that we do starts with a customer and the understanding of the customer, and we're agents of change, because data allows us to build relevant, engaging, inspiring experiences for the customer. We've been doing this since sort of 1989. We launched Club Card with Tesco in 95, and then you can see a different media that we've introduced. We've got into retail media with the magazine and .com, and then we've linked up with some really quite special partnerships in the latter years, working with Facebook, working with DailyDOOH, and buying a business called Buzz, which is an advocacy platform. We are in the media space, we're also in the data space, and we enjoy the connection. But we're not just Tesco. These are, we run loyalty schemes for many retailers all over the world. And we have 25 years of that experience. And as I said, we're also all over the world, and not just in the Tesco markets. So we have a global view of customer attitudes and behaviour, global footprint, a lot of learnings to optimise, so we get the performance right, and we understand what works. So we bring the learnings from those retailers. So globally, we've got 660 million customers we look at, $500 billion of spend, and we understand what to optimise, and this then informs our strategies and our decisions. So what about the customer? Well, the customer's changing. Consumers are connected, they're always on, and I guess we have to all change to meet that customer rather than them having to meet us. And then this, I think we've only so far had one slide of the media landscape is changing today, so I thought I'd put one in, and there'll probably be a couple more this afternoon. But the point I want to make in here is that, the media landscape is changing, and our view and what we're seeing is that media is going to have to become more addressable, it's going to have to become more targeted, and talking to Fiona's point, it's going to have to become measurable, because that's what our advertisers want. They want the measure, they want to understand their ROI, they want to understand what it's delivering. And in response to that, retail is also changing. The space that we work in is revolutionising, and how we interact with our customers are changing. So customers have more choice, more channels to navigate, and the ecosystem that the retailer has allows them to do that. And here you can just see a week of a retailer, a week of an interaction with a retailer, and you can probably sort of put yourself in that space. You'll find from my pictures that anyone who ever works with Tesco, any retailer, is pretty good looking. It's not been my experience when shopping there. So what's our vision? Well, our vision is that everything starts with the customer and customer understanding, and then we leverage that data to drive long-term loyalty for the retailer and the brand. But how do we do that? We do that by planning and creating relevant offers and messages for that customer, and we do that by delivering them when, where, and how that customer wants it. So the customer is at the start, the middle, and the end of everything we do, and our business will perform at its optimum if we get that right. So we started with the data that we had, and the data what we have in the UK is Clubcard data. Going forward, dunnhumby will be in a position, and this isn't an advert, but it could well be, dunnhumby will be in a position to work with other retailers and other businesses. At the moment, we spend a lot of time working with Tesco, but obviously under new ownership, for a mere snip of 2 billion, we can come and work with a lot of other people. So we start with Clubcard and the data and understanding our customers, who they are, whether they have families, when and how they shop, what they shop when they shop, what else they look at when they shop, are they online? And then we sort of a little step into media consumption. We also know what, the magazines and the newspapers they read. But where it gets really, really smart and exciting is if we can link media exposure to attitudinal and lifestyle. So the ability to connect media exposure and attitudes to purchase behaviour is truly transformational. This would allow us to make the customer experience better. So imagine the wider benefits: a clear positive impact on the customer. Smarter, more relevant, more personalised communications mean vastly improved media efficiencies, but more importantly, offer better customer experiences. And better brand experiences create loyalty, which in turn drives long-term business value. And if we treat customers in the digital space as real people, generally make their lives easier and simpler, and then just maybe brands can start to build trust, the greatest commodity of all in this bewildering digital world. So where we start with is what they see and what they hear, what they feel, what they think, and then most importantly what they do. So then we add our secret sauce, which is the customer level data. And if we go across the piece, we've got Clubcard here. Oh, I haven't got a speaker, have I? If we've got Clubcard here, we then go into, if we overlay that onto our digital platform, we can actually personalise the information we're making there. If we then put it in with Sky IQ, we can actually personalise the targeting. If we then go into AdSmart, again we can personalise the targeting. If we then work with Facebook and Buzz Agent, you've got a targeted media. We've also got a connected research. We've got about 150,000 people that we work with. And we're able to research with those. If we then overlay onto that, we get a much, much, much deeper view of what the customer likes. And then on the contextual side, we've got the mobile world, so you've got geo-targeting. So if we get all of that right, ultimately, we get the build, we get the 3D, the high-definition view of the customer by connecting all the dots. And this can help us create a campaign that is tailored to their needs, integrating channels and content to build a relevant experience. We want to understand consumer and shopper touchpoints and connect them to real-time customer behaviour. Currently, the view of the customer is fragmented, and we want to bring a 360 view together. So our plan is to build behavioural insight-driven, real-time, end-to-end customer activation. We all here want to help brands connect with consumers and shoppers wherever they are. And our vision is to create a single source connected view of what customers think, feel and do across their engagement journey in order to maximise the impact of each touch point on a long-term loyalty and ROI. So what does that give us? It gives us a mission. The mission is that we will use the customer data to define our strategy, to make the experience personal for that customer. So what will happen? Well, we'll successfully activate those customers for retailers and brands. Now this is the theory, and we're putting this into practice. And I've got my able assistant, Kate, a bit short for that stool, but she's off of it, who was going to take us through what this looks like in practice.
Thanks, Thanks, Joe. So I guess one thing to say is we always refer to customers, and actually for you guys, it's more about consumers. And when you think about the fact that Tesco is actually covering over 6% of all UK households, you could actually say this is about consumers and customers in that space as well. So yes, for Tesco, we're activating customers within Tesco, but the reality is the scale of the opportunity is absolutely enormous. So you could turn around and say to me, well, you know, we've talked a great game, it's a good vision, we like it, we buy into it, how do we get involved? But what are your credentials? And I guess what I could turn around and say to you as well, our heartland, our crown jewels, our club cards. And essentially, we started Club Card with Tesco 25 years ago, and we've built up this capability, which has given us credibility in the analogue personalisation space. And it means that we can identify how we talk to customers, consumers, in the right way to give them the right content at the right time. In this case, it's what we call our loyal customer mailing. So what we do is we target customers relative to what they actually purchase. So it's products that they already buy. We're driving follow-up purchase, follow-up visits to Tesco. And it's incredibly, incredibly lucrative because you're actually feeding a really, really captive audience very, very relevant information here and offer. So that's basically where we started. What we tried to do is put that club card data into our total Tesco media portfolio. And that would include the JCDecaux panels. That would actually include magazine, which you could turn around and say that's a mass communication. The reality is, yes, it is. But actually, we can use club card data to target, to measure the performance of that activity. So actually now we can say it's driving certain brand warmth, it's making people feel better about Tesco, but also it's delivering a significant ROI, it's driving sales uplift. We've recently identified indicatively that magazine is potentially driving £25 million worth of trade for Tesco. So actually, you know, you start finding out all this amazing detail by putting in the right data into the media opportunity. The trees and the bees are basically our advocacy platform. So we target customers and actually feed them new products to try, and then we want them to respond on social media and share that with like-minded friends and family. And actually we can then repurpose that content and put it onto the JCDecaux panels. We can put it into the magazine. We can completely repurpose on a multi-channel basis. So actually what we're trying to do is use the data to connect all the points around our media as well, which means that we create this virtuous circle from planning to targeting and measurement, and making sure that we optimise our media development, making sure that we optimise future campaign activity for our clients, and ensuring that we're driving efficiencies because we're targeting customers in the right way. But we do recognise, as has been said earlier by Sean, the need for the right media mix. So our portfolio does have mass communication capability. Our digital platform, through grocery home shopping, what we're doing with magazine, we do recognise we need to get that in the right mix. And actually, even with magazine, we're able to report the right content and understand what customers are really engaging with. And we can use digital, obviously, to drive our growth. So it's actually really important that we do maximise our understanding of mass communication. On the flip side of that, we want to make sure that the total experience becomes more engaging and more relevant for customers. So what we're doing over the next few months, few years, is actually ensuring we're providing the most relevant content across those platforms as well. So again, it's getting that balance right. It's ensuring that we're engaging customers at the right time, with the right message, in the right way, through the preferred channel. And then ideally, what ends up happening is the insight that we have, we can put the customer right at the start, right at the centre of what's being developed. The plan, the overall plan that's being developed across different channels can become very, very personalised to that customer. In fact, you end up tailoring a plan for that customer, and it becomes real-time relevant, and that can be driven through digital out of home, or online, or mobile, or app, and all of a sudden, you're actually having a continual conversation that's very relevant to that customer and very exciting. So that's tomorrow. But what we're doing right now is really focusing on the total multi-channel opportunity. So this is an example of a Nescafe campaign we ran recently. And as I was talking about the advocacy platform before, this was about creating pre-awareness with really loyal customers and actually getting them to generate content that we could then repurpose during the launch. and then have this massive awareness campaign around the store, getting customers to actually sample the product, ensuring we were getting the right kind of mass communication out there through the GHS, the grocery home store, and magazine platforms, and then ensuring that once we'd captured that audience and they bought into the promotion, we'd actually follow up activity as well. So then we'd have really targeted one-to-one communications, giving them subsequent offers, and ensuring that we keep that conversation going. There's no point in launching a product and then just leaving the customer. Actually, we can identify when they've purchased the product and follow it up very quickly afterwards. And what's very important to us is creating that 360 review of the activity. So it's not, for dunnhumby, you might turn around and think, actually, we just focus on purchase behaviour. But for the last 12 months, we've been really focusing on the ability that we have with our research panel, Shopper Thoughts, which is 150,000 customers, Club Card customers, we can actually get attitudinal and behavioural understanding from and really drive total recognition and actually complete understanding of how that customer is engaged with the activity. And also, we get total reach and also we can get really, really hard sales measures as well. So it gives that fully rounded review, attitudinal and behavioural. And that is the way forward for us. We need to ensure that what we're doing is actually engaging customers at the right level from an emotional perspective and also from an active, actionable perspective. What we wanted to do was just bring to life our engagement, our partnership with DailyDOOH, because really this takes us on the right journey. This is us on that path that Joe was talking about earlier. And it's all about how we can put data into digital out of home to ensure that we actually create the right kind of impact for customers with digital out of home at the store. What I would say about this is this gives a view of the great packages that DailyDOOH have created. Now, at the moment, this is almost like me trying to say, please use it properly. But at the moment, it's actually being used on a 2-weekly basis, mostly. There isn't that much targeting going on. And we have powered this amazing targeted tool to ensure that actually we're driving the right kinds of relevance to customers at a store level. And essentially, what that means is you can target customers who are most likely to be buying your brand. You can target customers who want to drive headroom growth potential with. You can target customers who are just perfect for your brand that you've identified as lookalikes. You can target customers during a key seasonal period that's relevant for your brand. And you can target customers when it's environmentally the right time as well because it's hot outside. And you can also target customers when there's a promotion going on in store. So it just feels like we just need to work together to create a more relevant experience of using this digital out-of-home platform at Tesco. And one of the reasons why is because we can go down to an hourly level with this data, to a store level, product level, and measure every basket as well. So actually, there's no reason why we shouldn't be thinking about using this in a more targeted way and using it as the right platform, as kind of like a springboard to further development. So these are the brands actually that have engaged with our opportunities to date. And the reality is that actually this is growing considerably over the last year since we've moved into digital platform. And we're seeing greater revenues and we're seeing stronger performance levels as well. So actually we're seeing the right results. People are understanding that's the right thing to do, but we just need to get more targeted campaigns in the pipeline. Just to give a view, and actually following on from what Heather was saying before, we're seeing increased performance versus static to digital, a better performance obviously. We're seeing better performance in relation to animated content as opposed to static content. We're seeing much better performance when that activity is targeted. So actually, we just need to make sure that we're using those learnings to build out better capability. And we're also seeing great performance where we've got multiple executions going on at relevant times. And also when it's tied into activity that's going on in the store, because you're amplifying that message as you go into the store. This is just to show how we've been planning Tesco media activities to include DailyDOOH panels. This shows the total performance of that campaign. It worked very well for Nescafe and for the category. But actually, if you just hone down into the activity that was the point of sale media and the digital out-of-home screens, DOOH screens, you're actually seeing incremental uplift as a result of those two elements working together. And again, that's at a product and category perspective. So actually, it's worth considering the targeting capability. And then finally, because we're all about the customer, so I wouldn't be able to finish off without talking about the customer, we can actually also identify the customer profiles that are actually engaging with your customers most based on the activity that you run. So, for example, this is a Phileas Fogg campaign. Now, we identify the fact that this is more of a mainstream, sort of mid-market product in the end, based on the customers that were engaging with it, when actually you might think it's a bit more upmarket. So what it meant was, future activity, we could tailor more to those customers, and actually we've generated kind of long-term engagement with Phileas Fogg as a result. This is a summary of 10 key reasons why you would want to get involved with DailyDOOH digital screens. I'd just say there are 3 things. One is that Tesco is the biggest retailer, supermarket retailer. The opportunity is the most relevant digital out-of-home opportunity that's out there right now, and it's the most measurable as well. So not only can you target it in the right way, but you can also get a firm understanding of how your campaign is performed. And just in summary, this is actually us on the journey. So what we do want to do is understand how we can build on serving up much more personalised content on those screens as well. So at the moment, we've moved to audience from tenancy, and actually what we want to do is move from audience to customer and get that really personalised experience, probably by engaging more with mobile and making sure that actually the activity comes together. We create some kind of geolocation micro-strategy that actually triggers offers, triggers content as you walk past the site, and that's our ambition. Thank you very much.